Hi, everyone. My name is Valerie Becker, and my project is on the Russian language, autism spectrum disorder, and childhood apraxia of speech. Some information about the Russian language. It is considered to be one of the most complex languages in the world, and it's also the fourth most spoken language in the world. The Russian American population in the US is about 3.13 million people. States with the highest population of Russian American speakers include New York, California, and Illinois. The Russian American population consists of other Russian ethnicities, such as Bulgarians, Ukrainians, and Lithuanians. And that just means that people in Bulgaria, Ukraine, and Lithuania also speak Russian. About 300 million people in the world speak Russian, and 170 million of those people consider it their mother language. Characteristics of the Russian language. The Russian language is mainly a phonetic language, which means that the words are pronounced how they're written. The Cyrillic alphabet is used with the Russian language, including uppercase and lowercase letters, and I've included a photo of the Cyrillic alphabet on this slide. There are 5 vowels and 37 consonants in the Russian language, and the word order and phrases can be changed. The verb to be is only used in past and future tenses. So for example, if you were saying, I am a translator in Russian, it would be I translator. And Russian also uses genders, 3 genders, masculine, feminine, and neutral. So when using the Russian language, the speaker must know when to use each gender of the noun to be sure it correlates with the endings of the other words in the phrase. Some similarities between English and Russian. Although the Russian language uses a different alphabet than the English language, there are some similarities between both. For example, there are letters in the Cyrillic alphabet and English alphabet which sound and look the same, like A, B, D, K, L, M, O, and T. There are words that have the same origin in the Russian and English language. For example, the word problema in Russian is pronounced problema, meaning problem. And some other example of words with the same origin would be sweater, which in Russian it's pronounced sviter, and automobile, which in Russian is pronounced avtomobil, and then finally coffee, which in Russian is pronounced kofi. So in the last slide, I talked about some similarities between the Cyrillic and English alphabet, but one of the big differences is the amount of letters in each. So the Cyrillic alphabet consists of 33 letters, while the English alphabet only consists of 26. The Russian phonological system differs drastically from the English phonological system. In Russian, there are 5 vowel sounds, while in English, there are 12. In the Russian language, there's also no difference between short and long vowels, while in English, there are 5 long vowels, 7 short vowels, and 8 diphthongs. And the lack of articles in the Russian language is a big difference with grammar in comparison to English and Russian. Russian and English speakers also use the same verb system, just in different ways. So now we'll get into autism spectrum disorder, or ASD. Autism spectrum disorder is a neurodevelopmental disorder characterized by social communication difficulties, restricted interest, repetitive behaviors, and sensory abnormalities. There are different degrees of autism, which is why we refer to it as a spectrum, but common behaviors include poor motor skills, repetitive behaviors, delayed speech, difficulty with reasoning, narrow interests, and impairments in social interaction. Autism spectrum disorder in Russia. So treatment of autism is poorly handled in Russia. Many doctors in Russia still interpret the disorder to be some relation of schizophrenia, So they address the problem with heavy medication. There are also social stigmas around autism spectrum disorder in Russia by families and doctors, which cause late diagnosis. And that's one of the biggest obstacles in tackling the autism problem in Russia. Now we'll get into childhood apraxia of speech, which is a neurological childhood speech motor disorder in which the precision and consistency of movements underlying speech are impaired in the absence of neuromuscular deficits. So children who have childhood apraxia of speech can know what they want to say, but struggle when it comes to the brain telling the mouth muscles how to move. And core deficits involve planning and or programming of movement sequences necessary for speech control and is frequently associated with an expressive language disorder. Some characteristics for diagnosing childhood apraxia of speech include inconsistent errors with consonants and vowels when pronouncing syllables and words. So an example of that would be a child saying the same word slightly different each time. Another characteristic is difficulty moving from sound to sound and syllable to syllable, difficulty repeating a string of words or syllables, and unusual emphasis on parts of speech. So an example of unusual emphasis on parts of speech would be the child pronouncing syllables in words or sentences with equal stress. So instead of the usual melody of speech, it would sound different, kind of unnatural. Autism spectrum disorder and childhood apraxia of speech. So the prevalence of childhood apraxia of speech is higher in nonverbal or minimally verbal children with autism spectrum disorder. Childhood apraxia of speech affects up to 65% of children with autism. So evaluating apraxia in a child with autism can be challenging, and the assessment may require a few sessions in order to avoid overworking the client or fatiguing the client. It's important to see how the child will respond to different intervention strategies. So will the child respond to a therapist asking for imitation? Will the child listen attentively while watching the therapist model mouth movements? Those are some questions you want to ask yourself during an evaluation for a child with childhood apraxia of speech and autism. So it's important to be cautious when evaluating children too young or developmentally challenged to fully participate in evaluation tasks. Typically, we need the child to have at least some speech to hear or see if they have symptoms of childhood apraxia of speech. And then here are some of my references. And thank you for watching.